You'll cut that out.
It's hard.
Oh, will I?
Hi everyone, I'm Daniela, and today I'm in the kitchen with my dad to make braciole.
Hi everyone, my name is Frank, and today I'm going to show you two versions of my mom's recipe to make braciole.
So one of the methods that my nonna used to make braciole is to actually stuff the meat with a meatball mix. So we're going to start by making that meatball mix, combining the meat, breadcrumbs, eggs, cheese, and some seasonings. So we're going to start with 1 pound of our ground meat.
Today we're going to use a triple mix. It's a combination of pork, veal, and beef.
If you can't find triple mix, you can use beef and pork, and I would recommend using 3/4 beef and 1/4 pork to get a similar flavor.
And then we'll use a cup of our mixture.
Our seasoned breadcrumbs.
Seasoned breadcrumbs.
Which contains Parmesan cheese and parsley. But if you're just using plain breadcrumbs, just make sure to increase those ingredients a little bit more in your mix.
Then I add
about a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese.
Thank you, 1/4 cup. And of course we have our egg.
So we're going to chop some additional fresh parsley to just add a bit more flavor.
And this is from my garden.
So it's extra fresh.
Picked this morning, actually. We'll fine chop our parsley.
It's maybe about a tablespoon of finely chopped parsley.
Yeah, that's correct. Just a little more than a tablespoon.
So in goes our parsley. And then we're going to add in 1 clove of garlic.
Every good Italian kitchen needs garlic. And meatballs always have garlic in our family. So we like to always add a little more seasoning. So we like to add some salt. Typically about a teaspoonful for this mixture. And then a little teaspoon, half a teaspoon of pepper, ground pepper. And of course, I always like to do it by hand. Just like Mom used to do and how she taught me.
Did Nonna make this anytime or was it for special occasions?
You know what, every once in a while, she would just do it for the family on Sunday. We didn't have a lot of meat back then, but this is one of our favorites. So it was one of those traditional Calabria things that my mom used to always make for us. When we had guests over, she would do that. She actually would make some really large ones. We're only going to make some small ones today. But my mom would often make something around 12 inches long, 4 inches in diameter.
And it's a nice way too to stretch out the meat a little bit the way that you do it like this.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're not just eating, now the other thing is you're not just eating meatballs, you're actually eating meat with meatballs. It gives it just a different flavor to it.
And it seasons the sauce too.
Yeah, actually adds a lot of seasoning to the sauce for sure. Now it's ready to go. We just now have to pound the meat, add a little bit, and start rolling it.
We're using steak sub meat for our braciole today. Our butcher tends to cut it really thin, so you don't have to pound it out too much, but if your steak is a bit thicker, make sure you pound it so it's really nice and thin. But we are going to pound it out a little bit today because it helps to tenderize the meat and it cooks a little bit nicer and it's a little bit softer when you bite into it.
And if you could, I mean, there's an opportunity you could use veal, if you can find veal. Veal has a nicer tender flavor to it as well. But for this purpose and the way we've always cooked it, we always use beef. So you can see the nice marbling in here. That's gonna add a little more flavor to the braciole.
So we're going to cover it in cling film before we pound it out, just to keep our tools clean and keep the kitchen a little bit cleaner as well. So it's about 1/8 of an inch thick, just smaller than about 1/2 centimeter in thickness.
So now what we like to do is we actually get our meat. You get maybe a handful of meat.
About 2 meatballs worth.
2 meatballs worth, that sounds reasonable. And then we spread it out. And you don't have to spread it, the whole thing, just enough so that you can get the mixture incorporated into the meat. So then we start rolling. Just like we would a normal braciole. Okay. Now, the next thing to do is we tie this up so it doesn't come loose during the frying process. I'm going to cut it up a few pieces. So now the process is we tie this. It doesn't have to be very tight, just enough that it holds the meat in place. Do you hold that? Perfect, thank you.
This is the shorter piece of string?
Yes. Okay, like that. Perfect. Yep, that's great. Okay, and then the final string, go end to end. Again, to keep this from moving. What I like to do is actually do that and then roll it. There we go. And now it's ready to fry. Here we go. Perfect.
Is this okay like this?
Actually, you know what? Let's push this in a little bit more on each side because you want to give
room to tuck it.
Yes, room to tuck it, and it won't fall out when you cook it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
And then can I tuck a little bit here?
Absolutely. Great. Yep, perfect.
Like a burrito.
Like a burrito. An Italian burrito.
So this next version is a more plain, more basic, probably more traditional version of braciole. But there are so many varieties. People make this in so many different ways. I've seen them with raisins, with pine nuts, but this is just a really traditional, easy way to get started if you've never made it before. Just like the other one, we're going to pound this out so it's a little bit thinner.
Okay. So we put salt on this one. The previous one we had salt inside the meat, and this one we'd like to just rub it in a little bit. Now what we do is we put in the parsley. Just spread it around. That's it. My mom loves garlic. She would use probably 4 of these in here. I don't like garlic that much, so I'm just going to use 1. Okay, so now we roll it up, but if you do like pepper, we can season it with a little more pepper. Preferably, those that do like it, go ahead and do it now at this process, or you can do it once it's rolled. Tie it back up again, just like we did the last ones. A little crisscross. So we have to show you the difference between the meat stuffed braciola and the regular traditional braciola in size. So here are the difference between the meat filled ones and the regular traditional braciola. My favorite one is the one that's reminds me more of my mom. Is the one with meat filled. It's to me it's one of those things that brings me back to my childhood.
Add a few tablespoons of olive oil to your pan. Make sure it's nice and hot before putting your braciole into the pan. You'll want to brown your braciole on each side. This process should take about 20 to 30 minutes, making sure that the braciole starts to cook through. If you don't want to stand here turning your braciole, give it a quick sear on all of the sides, including the top and bottom, then pop it in the oven at 175 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 to 30 minutes. When your braciole are this beautiful brown color, that's when they're ready to put into the sauce.
So once we put them in the sauce, we let them sit there for a couple of hours or until they're tender. Just like any other meatball or sausage in your sauce, you let them cook till they're tender.
Give the sauce a little stir, making sure all of the braciole is covered, and then pop your lid on your sauce pot and let it simmer. When your braciole are tender, remove the strings and slice into rounds. You can even serve a whole or a half braciole on each person's plate if you'd like. Whether you choose stuffed or not, both options are a delicious addition to your Sunday lunch.
Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the like button down below. And if you're looking for another traditional Italian recipe, you have to try my pastina soup.
And don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe.